Dr. Warren, you know, I'm voting for Barack Obama. You know that. Because I like Barack Obama. But I'm voting for him for the symbolism.
Well, I mean, it's just a symbolism. Don't expect him to do anything.
No, I didn't expect him to do anything 4 years ago. I mean, I like him. So I like seeing him and his wife and the kids in the White House. I like that. Well, but I guarantee folks that, like you said earlier, whether it's Barack Obama or Mitt Romney, the standard of living for most Americans will continue to decline.
That's unequivocally that they will decline. There's no hope to alter or change or impede that. The jobs have went overseas. They will continue to go overseas, and you have a problem with the dollar or the unit of currency that you're using. It's becoming less and less valuable. What I mean, it's decreasing in value. When Obama came in, when Bush left office, Obama came in, gasoline was about $1.75, $1.80 a gallon. Now it's double. And I guarantee you by the time he gets out of office, we're looking at between $5 and $8. Don't let him go to war over there in Iran or somewhere. He can go to $8 real quick.
Well, tell these Republicans and these Tea Party people that Mitt Romney is not going to improve the economy. It's
impossible. The debt is so great, it's impossible to be paid, folks. Listen, just do the math. We only collect $2.4 trillion in income tax, and most of that is in the individuals. That's all we collect. Now, you got Social Security, you got the defenses are $500 billion. You got Social Security. When you come up, you're about $2 to $3 trillion short. And you know what? You got to borrow that money or either print it. So that you used to get it from the Chinese. The Chinese said, listen, we ain't taking this. Your credit's getting real funny real quick. It's like you got a Chase card, you start running up that credit on your Chase, and they cut you off. So listen, till you pay down this debt, you ain't getting no more credit. Well, it's the same way with America. We're the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. Do you understand? In 1980, we was the largest creditor nation. So now we reverse. And the worst thing you can do is have debt. Now, most of the things that people have acquired over the last 30 years, they bought a car, it was not a savings. They said, well, I'm driving a Lexus. I got me and my old lady take vacations to the Bahamas and da-da-da. We got an apartment, we got a house, a Mac mansion. All that stuff was bought on credit. That's on debt, folks. You don't understand what I'm saying? None of it was bought on savings that you had and you were paid cash for. So as a result, everybody's in hock, and the currency you got is getting worthless, and the cost of living is being escalated crazy. And you haven't seen food prices. We have a drought, the worst drought we had in 50 years. And listen, and you already got inflation coming. So then you got a drought on top of that. Listen, the food price is going to go through the ceiling come next spring, and a lot of folks, you think you got a hard time now, you just wait because you're not going to get a pay increase. They may give you 2 or 3%. Inflation truly is running about 11%. So that means after about what? If we're running 11 or 12%, after 8 or 9 years, your purchasing power is gone. If you don't own gold and silver, you're in deep doo-doo. I'm going to just tell you straight up. And you ain't got a whole lot of time to get it straight. Because you can buy one silver quarter, for $5. Why can't you? Why is one silver quarter worth $5? In other words, I could take 1 quarter right now and buy me a gallon of gas for 25 cents. It's silver, pure silver. It's no longer in circulation. Now you wait till that quarter get to $100, and you will sit there and get stone stupid because you won't be able to eat because what's going to happen? Orange juice is going to be $25. Organic milk is already $10. I was in Dominican yesterday. I'm looking at Hormel bacon. I don't eat pork. I said, listen, I picked the thing up. They talking about $8 a pound for Hormel bacon. Do you understand? What don't you understand?
Now, but you think
the American people must be stuck on stupid.
But tell the American people and all the Republicans and the Democrats and the Independents that Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney cannot create enough jobs to grow the economy, to grow us out the debt.
It's impossible to grow. All those jobs, every dollar you spent, is going to China. Because most of the things that you look on, just go to the store and Walmart and see what you got. So most of the jobs are created in China, so that money leaves here, it's sucked out of here, and it's over in China or Japan or Mexico, so it doesn't get a chance to circulate here. So it's possible for any jobs to be created of any worthwhile. And if it is, you mean more Mickey D jobs or Walmart jobs? Those are not livable wages. Now, again, I'll say, just look up in the Wall Street Journal or whatever, only 25% of the jobs in America are paying livable wages. So what are most people doing? They're living with their mama, grandma, and that's how they're living now. So we got to do like the foreigners do, the Mexicans, 3 or 4 generations in one house, And that goes for a lot of white people. And white middle class catching stone hell now.
But when you tell a young man or a young woman, they in college or high school or grammar school, and they say, the economy's so bad, ain't no jobs, I should just quit going to school.
What they need to do is get a trade. You have to have something that basically, that necessity that continues to be, so what do you mean? For instance, you got to have people who won't be able to afford to bury it. You can go out and get cremation certificate. You don't need to, you can see that's always going to happen. They're gonna burn these bodies. You get a certificate for X-ray, those types of things. You need to have a trade, things that people need and can continue to go even in a society when things fall apart.
They still need food, clothing, shelter.
Food, clothing, shelter.
You still got to bury the dead.
You still got to bury the dead.
You got to try to make the sick well.
That's right. So those things that you have to have. So even in the Depression of 1920, it was 20,000 millionaires made. That shows you that there's always going to be some opportunity to be available. You need to, if you're going to become an entrepreneur, you need to say, okay, what are the basic things I need? I'm going to make a product that's catered to the rich. You know, they still going to spend. And this is a book here I had, it's called When Money Dies. Even in the Depression, people, they even had nightclubs. So then that's another way of making money. I mean, there's always going to be some way of commerce going on, even in a depressed type, hellish type of economy. You still going to have, what you're going to need, you're going to have a spirit to give you some knowledge, some wisdom to be able to sustain yourself, because it becomes psychological. You become fear and paralyzed. Like a guy said, ain't no jobs, no way, I ain't going to do nothing. Smoke some reefers, get out in the street and act a fool, and wind up shooting somebody on some mess. But listen, there's plenty of opportunities there. And if you know how to save, enter with gold and silver, you'll be able to just buy houses and just rent them out. Some of the Jews in the 1920s, they were buying blocks of houses just for less than $10,000, just blocks of houses. So there'll be plenty of opportunity for people that one have capital, one have some skill, some trade, and the right state of mind. And that's where the spirit comes in, because this type of thing is going to be so devastating. Most people will not be able to hold or think clearly. They're like you're being paralyzed by fear. They're going to be paralyzed by the fear of what they see transpiring. That's what FDR said in the 1930s. He said, there's nothing but fear itself. And the scriptures say, Yahweh has not given us the spirit of fear, but sound mind, love, and power. So you're able to sustain yourself in such chaotic times. And listen, you're living in such fraudulent, deceitful times. The banking system is totally bankrupt. Wall Street, the type of fraud that's taking place, I cannot imagine a person like this President Obama not speaking out on the type of fraud that's taking place, what he's bought and paid for. I'm going to give you an example of what happened with me. I got a job at Tiffany's down here on Chicago. I was on the Gold Coast it's about 1970. What happened, they were missing $35,000 in earrings. That's roughly it's worth about $250,000 now, those same earrings. They told me, you be over the mail room. I came in the morning and said, listen, I come from the west side. I ain't going to jail for nobody. I went in and did an inventory on every piece of item in that inventory. We came up with that $35,000 box. And Mr. Osgood, his name was, he later became chairman of Tiffany. He told me, anytime you need a job, you got a job. Everybody was shaking my hand, but listen, I just can't believe that this guy would come in and not mention what's taking place. But you have to understand, all this is politics. He goes up to Wisconsin, where those people got shot. What's his name? The guy. What's the black? Right. The Sikhs that got killed up there. Then he goes down there. What's his name? The black guy. The Trevor's. Martin. He makes comments about this, but every week here in Chicago, it's a war zone. I have a friend. He calls me every morning. He said every weekend. He said, Lee, here's the war casualties. And here's the war cash, 35, 40 people every weekend get shot, and then we just take it normally. But he makes no comment about that. I'm saying this stone thing is all political, and you're going to have to transcend the mindset of what these politicians are playing with. Your reverends don't tell you anything, your politicians, you got your leaders, you got Farrakhan diagnosed in the situation. He never came out and said, listen, we need to get as much gold and silver we can get our hands on. That's the only way we're going to preserve ourselves, because what they're going to do, they're going to have to reboot the system. Do you know when a reboot the system is? Your computer locks up and you press a button and boop, it starts all over again. And when this thing starts all over again, if you don't have any capital to start it, no matter what your race, creed, nationality is, the mean green is out. They may have another currency. It may be red. But I tell you this, you'll be able to work for a little bit of for nothing. And you know what? You're going to like it, because if you don't, there's always 3 squares and a hot tot at the FEMA camp. Now, that's the real deal, because ain't nobody, listen, the government got too many problems. With their foreign, with their China, Japan, all these countries, they got problems. I said, listen, you owe me money, I owe you money, and then Pookie and Ray Ray acting crazy in the street. I ain't got time to deal with that. So, he said, put them in the camp. We got too many problems. So this is what's going to happen. I'm trying to get you to understand time is on us. And listen, as of right now, today, what is it, 2nd of September, Labor Day, listen, the Democrats are holding a convention. Do you know there's a major bank that's rumored on Wall Street? You go to Google and put in Morgan Stanley. They claiming that Morgan Stanley is broke and subject to go bust any day. And it's going to take, and it's the largest brokerage company, 300,000 accounts. These are rich white folks. They may not get their money. This stuff is getting real crazy, folks. And I'll say this. Let me say this in closing. When you have chaotic times like this, it's very dangerous for leaders to be in that type of position. We had 7 presidents to be assassinated, and 4 of them was during chaotic times, either war, economic dislocation, and you had attempted assassination with FDR. I would not be surprised if there's a large assassination attempt on Obama or Romney. Listen, people lose money and they what? Lose it. Yeah. They snap. I'm not talking about Pookie and Ray Ray on the corner. I'm talking about people with big money that can hire somebody to do a job. Now, this is the way this thing works now, and unless you have some understanding and do a crash course and some research, knowing what derivatives are, just some basic stuff, you don't have a whole lot of time, because when you find the news, when you find out what's going on in the news, it's just going to be what? It's going to be too late. And the hardship for you and your family, you're not going to believe this. You should ask your grandparents, anybody that's 80 years old, what it was like to live in the South, and what they went through working in the fields of Mr. Charlie, the white man, pulling, it was rough. Yeah. Now, you ain't working for Mr. Charlie. You're working for these corporations, and they worse than Mr. Charlie. Right. See, Mr. Charlie needs you. He could have to feed you. These corporations say, we don't need you at all because we sent it to China, put it in the Robux. So you better get this stuff straight and try to understand what's going on. Cut off the TV, Dancing with the Stars. Don't go out and buy, please, don't go out and buy no King James $318 shoes. Right, don't do that. That's a waste of time. Buy you some canned food, because you can't eat them shoes. See, or some silver or something. Because listen, we're one of the few people that are warning, especially amongst the African American community, are warning you what to do. The white community are being warned by their people. But listen, it's hard times coming for everybody, and few people are making preparation for what's coming. And I'll tell you this, my message to Pookie and Ray Ray, the time is on you, because we'll be suing the martial law when this thing crashes. And I can guarantee you it'll be just like when the NATO force is here, you're going to go somewhere and sit your butt down. You get real quiet, because listen, under martial law, they don't take no prisoners. You ain't got no constitutional rights. Or you got a rifle butt upside your head. And that's the way this thing is going. And nobody is telling you what to do, how to prepare for this, and how to prevent the chaos that's generated in the street as people find out that they can't buy food. Even with your link card, you're going to find out at $20 a gallon for orange juice. Organic milk right now is $10, $5 a half gallon. Good, you can't find jumbo eggs are hard to find. They're selling small eggs as large eggs. Everything is crazy now. Sizes, everything is being reduced. And how are you going to eat? Well, these are the things I like to say to you. And most of all, ask the Father in you. The Holy Spirit within you will guide and lead you and instruct you in such turbulent times. I ain't talking about jumping, shouting, screaming, and giving somebody some money. You better ask the Father in you how to be led and guided in such turbulent times. And with that, I want to say peace.
Give Dr. Warren a big hand. Dr. Warren.